Welcome back to Texas. We take a look at our Messina Wildlife Race recap. Early on, problems for Nur Ali coming out of turn 4, gets into the wall. Single car incident.
Lap number 14. Mikey Kyle on the inside. He slides up in to the 16 of Joey Coulter. Also collects Patrick Shelter and Steve Arpin. All those drivers able to continue.
Then lap 21, Mikey Kyle trying to make the move on the inside of Alex Kennedy. Not enough room. Kennedy gets sideways. Mikey Kyle continues on.
See here, lap number 27. Allie Owens takes a ride through the infield. Does a nice job not getting back up into traffic. Does not bring out a caution flag.
Also going through the infield, the 38 of Alex Kennedy on lap 33. He does not bring out the caution this time. But then on lap 39, we've got a problem with Tom Birdie in the 35.
Yeah, Tom makes hard contact, loses control coming off turn 2 into the inside wall.
Very similar. The next incident is that 82 of Sean Corr. He gets into the inside wall and he will go behind the garage. But take a look at the ride that Russ Duggar has in the 12 just behind him.
He does a nice job of not making any more contact with that outside wall. He turns so hard. There was a lot of smoke from the spin of Sean Corr. He did not know exactly where to go. He went to the inside, lost control, turned the wheel so hard.
Take a look at the numbers of the Messina Wildlife Race recap after 54 laps. It's Craig Gose out in front. 4 lead changes. We've had 5 cautions for 21 laps. There's 2 cars out of the race, and there's 20 cars still on the lead lap. Let's get up to speed with our pit reporters. We go first to Wendy Benarini.
Well, Craig Gose is coming off his series best finish last week in Salem, where he finished second. Now he finds himself the leader of the race. And on that last run, he asked his crew chief, Johnny Allen, how are my laps comparing? Johnny let him know he's running about 2/10 faster lap than the 51 and the 29. He also reminded Craig Gose to be easier on the restarts. Expect Craig to really pump it up with 20 laps to go. Jim?
And right behind him will be the 29 of Chad Finley, that Auto Value Chevrolet. It's a very important race for them. They're sponsors here in Texas, but this Michigan short tracker, all they did was a slight pressure and 4 tires on the last pit stop. He went from 24th, now running in 3rd for Chad Finley. He finished top 3 at Berlin Raceway last year, was on the pole at Rockingham last year, but as crew chief just told me, we've got a late model racer here who needs to pick it up on these restarts. That's been our only issue. The car's been handling great for Finley.
Continue to clean up the racetrack. Chase Mattioli will be the Aaron's lucky dog and get a lap back. So Chase Mattioli currently running in the 18th spot. We'll be back with more from Texas Motor Speedway after these messages. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Burger King. To remind you to have it your way. By Ansel, for over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. And by #1 rated Scratch Doctor. Keep your car looking great with Scratch Doctor. Let's go back trackside to Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Rick. We're continuing to follow the engine troubles on the 32 of Justin Marks. He restarted that last green flag at 6th and moved up 2 spots to 4th. However, the vibration is still there. I talked to their engine tuner, and he said there's not sure if the gauge is reading inaccurately, but the gauge has been bouncing around in the car, and it still has that vibration despite switching those boxes. Jim?
Well, Frank Kimmel started this race in the 3rd position, but he just came down pit road on lap 51 to put a turn out of the car to get it to handle better. He's been complaining since the middle of the race that when he's behind another car, he loses the nose. So they did that change. They also topped off on fuel. They didn't think they were able to make it the rest of the way, but this pit stop on lap 51 should get him good to go to the end. He'll, however, have to start well back in 15th in the Menard's Ansel Ford.
Interesting report there by Wendy as far as Justin Marks. He's been so good this entire race. We hope that engine holds off, and we hope he can put up a challenge for Craig Gose, James Busher, and Finley up in front of him. Pace car is off the racetrack. Again, it's Craig Gose out in front of the field. He gets into the gas, and we're back to green flag racing.
See Joey Coulter lined up on the inside. Joey is being shown a couple laps down. A problem for Chad Finley on the start. Oh, he's going to make some contact with Nelson Piquet Jr.
Chad Finley slowing way down. It looked like he missed a gear, but then all of a sudden he slowed down and tried to turn hard left.
And now he looks like he's back up to speed. He didn't make contact with Nelson Piquet Jr. There's Mikey. Ooh, now he's back up to speed, going around the outside of Mikey Kyle.
Quite a bit of speed as he makes the pass. Here comes Craig Gose again, working up front. Joey Coulter on the inside.
Joey's 2 laps down. He knows that he has to earn one of those laps back before he would be in position to get the Aaron's lucky dog. But James Busher right now said, I'd like the lead.
Very strong out of the 51 of James Busher as he gives chase to Craig Ghost. Ghost still looking for his first win in the ARCA Racing Series.
You know, Nelson Piquet Jr., you see right up your screen, actually, Patrick Shelter getting by Mikey Kyle. Nelson Piquet Jr. started on the pole by virtue of car owner points from last year. Of the 3 Menard's Pole Award by Ansel winners this year, 2 of them were in the car number 51. James Busher at Daytona and Casey Roderick at West Palm Beach.
James Busher wants to be the guy who hoists the trophy at the end of the race, though, Wendy.
That race at Daytona, James Busher came home fourth. Today, his car is just as strong, if not stronger. His crew chief, Nick Harrison, told me they tightened up the car. He was getting a little bit too free. James Busher feels really good about his race car, despite having that blown engine yesterday and getting very limited practice time.
There's Justin Marks, the 32. Look who's slow through that corner there. 09 of Grant Enfinger drives away from him through the center.
Again, we talked about potentially an engine issue with the 32.
Let's go back to that restart. We saw Chad Finley, the 29 car, very, very slow. Watch your bottom of your screen. That's Chad Finley, the black car. Justin Marks in the 32. Chad Finley takes off. Everything looks good. Obviously looks like he misses a gear. A little bit of contact with Justin Marks and Chad Finley, and then Chad Finley runs into Nelson Piquet Jr.
Saw Ricky Carmichael making the move in the number 4 trying to get by, and now we see Craig Ghost lengthening out the distance between himself and that 51. There you see Patrick Shelter just in front of the 4 of Ricky Carmichael. On the inside of them, Mikey Kyle in the 25.
Patrick Shelter has the 7th position right now. Ricky Carmichael, Mikey Kyle racing for 8th.
Side by side at the stripe. Carmichael on the outside, and that Monster Energy drink number 4.
Been very, very impressed with Ricky Carmichael. Had a great battle in Daytona we saw with Danica Patrick, ended up finishing 7th. Really did a nice job, had a top 10 run in the truck at Atlanta, and then went to Martinsville, had another top 10 run in that truck. So really catching on to this 4-wheel racing.
Ricky Carmichael planning to run the entire Camping World Truck Series season, getting into the ARCA Racing Series when he can. Trucks are off this weekend.
Talked to Mr. Turner, his car owner and truck owner. He said, hey, we want to get him, as you see Frank Kimmel, who made a pit stop on this most recent caution flag, get by Ricky, but we want to get Ricky in a car or a truck as much as we can. He just needs seat time. That's a great idea for him to come to the ARCA Racing Series to get that seat time.
Frank Kimmel getting by Ricky Carmichael, now trying to set sail with that Ansel Ford. Craig Ghost setting the pace, though, as he has a 1.7 second lead now over James Busher.
That last lap a full half second faster than James Busher. Craig ran a 29.90, James Busher a 30.43.
We always hear about guys that have good runs maybe on a short run or a long run, and we saw James Busher really battle Craig Ghost early on, but now he has dropped back. Maybe his car better on the short runs.
Yeah, over 2 second lead right now for Craig Ghost over James Busher. Remember, as Wendy just told us, very, very limited practice for James Busher. So they pretty much just took a stab in the dark at what kind of setup they needed for this race.
Lined up, going down the backstretch. 38. Alex Kennedy in front of the 60 of Patrick Sheltra. Mikey Kyle runs a higher line. Frank Kimmel down in that 44, running toward the bottom of the racetrack. I think Shelter looks to go to the outside. We'll see if he can make the pass through 1 and 2. Up in front of him, that's Chad Finley in the 29 going by the 32. Wendy, are we hearing anything more about problems with that 32?
Yeah, the problems are continuing for Justin Marks, and this time it's wrecking loose, he said 2 times in a row to his crew chief. He is not happy with the race car, and that's probably because of a little bit of damage that he got involved in with Chad Finley, and there he goes, taking it around. You guys have a better view than I do of that.
Yeah, Wendy, he got way loose coming out of 4. It looks as though he's going to try to keep it off the racetrack. Slides up, the caution comes out once again. That's caution number 6 here at Texas.
He was wrecking loose, that's for sure. Did a nice job, though, avoiding the outside wall and keeping that car down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Disappointing for Justin Marks. I'm sure he felt so good at the beginning of this race, confident that he had a car that could win. And then with the engine issues and then the contact with.
He was really loose, as Wendy said, and you saw him. Now he's headed back towards the racetrack. See him let off the brake at the right time and then get back on the brakes to get that car out of the racing groove. There's another view right behind the 29, Chad Finley. See him hard in the throttle to keep that car out of the outside wall.
Yeah, again, you see the damage to the right front of that race car, and he was talking about how the handling changed so much. There was the contact when Chad Finley missed his shift on the restart. There's real time coming out of 4.
Going to come right at us, right at our camera.
Trying to keep it out of the racing groove. And the caution comes out once again. Whenever it's bad for one person, it's got to be good for another. So Russ Duggar gets the Aaron's lucky dog because of this caution coming out. So he will grab a lap back. Craig Ghost continues to lead here at Texas Motor Speedway.